recording. We're missing today's class from the cycle, so we're going to record it. We're basically holding in the story where Bilam is taken by King Balak to curse the Jewish people, and he turns into the very, very beautiful blessing into Yasres Chumash, and the same thing is going to happen again today. So King Balak says to the prophet Bilam, "L'chana iti, come please with me, el makim acher, to another place. Let's try this from somewhere else. It didn't work here. Let's try a different location. Asher terenu misham efes katzeu, that from there you will see a part of the Jewish people. So you'll be able to have them in your vision, a part of them. But you won't see all of them. You'll just see some of them. Let's see if it'll work from this new location where I'm bringing you to, the kavanoi li misham, and you will curse them for me. From there, do me a favor, curse these people. Didn't work. You ended up saying a blessing. Come on, let's try somewhere else. Let's get another view, and hopefully you'll be able to curse the Jewish people from there." Verse 14, and he took him to the field of lookouts. And Rashi says, as was the style, as even in today's day and age, they have lookout locations to find if the enemy's coming. They could see from very, very far away. And so they had lookouts to see if people were approaching from other cities to attack, that they could see from a very far distance. So he says, "Let me take you to these lookout locations, and we'll try from there to this high location, which you can see far, and you can see part of the Jewish people." Even Shivim is Bachais, and again, he built 7 altars. We explained in yesterday's Chumash why specifically 7. But part of the island, on top of these altars, he brings up a bull and a ram, a mizbeach on the mizbeach. Now, Rashi says something very interesting. Rashi says, you thought the whole time that Bilam was the greater magician who knew who could do these spirits and so on. You thought Bilam was greater. Actually, in fact, we see, he says, that King Balak was greater even than Bilam. Maybe Bilam had a specific, tool set that he was able to do, but a skill set, but really Balak knew better than him. And where did he take him? Very interesting. Where did he take him? To a place called Rosh HaPisgah, which is the peak of the mountain. And Rashi says he actually sensed something very negative over there in that location. And he saw that over there, that Moshe Rabbeinu will pass away. So he sensed that. He knew even what Bilam didn't know. He took him into the location better than even, I guess, than Bilam could sense. And he thought that maybe this negative energy that he senses that will happen is actually the curse. But really, it was that Moshe Rabbeinu was going to pass away. And therefore, obviously, we're going to see this Chumash, the curse won't work. And he says to the prophet Balak, so Bilam says to King Balak, the prophet Bilam says to King Balak, like we said in yesterday's class, stand over here next to the sacrifices, and I will go and see if by some chance Hashem will appear. Like I said yesterday, maybe God will come and show to me. So he says, you stay over here, you stay next to the altars. I'm going to move aside and see if Hashem will maybe come to me again. And then Hashem did, verse 16, Vayakar Hashem Bilam, and God appeared, chanced upon Bilam. Okay, I'll show up to him. Vayasam davar b'fiv, and he placed words in his mouth. And he said to him, Vayomer Shuv, God says, go back, El Balak, to King Balak, and this is how you're going to speak when you get there. And Rashi says that, what's this whole thing? That I'm going to put words in your mouth. And he says that he literally physically put words in his mouth. And Bilam actually, when he realized that Hashem was not going to let him say a curse, he says, okay, I'm done. Let me go back home. Let me leave here. I'm going to go back to maybe Midyan and go back to my home country. It's not working out. So why do I have to again torture him and do the opposite of what I'm being hired to do? Let me get out of here. And Hashem says, no. And Rashi says, like, for example, you know how you put in an animal, they have these like sharp, pegs that they put in their mouth. And he's going to put the sharp peg, like, an animal to pull it, to force it to go. And it's literally like that, like Hashem put something in his mouth and forced Bilam to walk back to King Balak and force him what he's going to say, literally forcing him what he's going to say. And these are the words. And he came back to him, he came to King Balak. Balak is standing there next to the sacrifices. And some, as Rashi says, of the entourage is left. If you remember, when he came yesterday, in the previous day's class that we had, the earlier curse, that turned the blessing, Bilam was there with his whole entourage, the whole royal, entourage was with him. And today, a lot of them already left and realized that this guy, how like you're unsure sometimes of these people who do this witchcraft and stuff, if it could even work. And many of them already left. Some were left with King Balak, wasn't giving up, I guess, so fast. And he was there with some of the entourage that still believe there's a possibility that he'll be able to curse. So he's there with some of the captains of Moav, and he says to him, Balak, Ma Diber Hashem. Balak says to Bilam, he says, ha, and he's actually, Rashi says he's laughing at him. He's like, no, tell us what God spoke to you. You're a faker. You're not the real deal. You can't even control what you're saying. Hashem forces you to say no, so he starts laughing. And what did God tell you today? So he raises his parable, talks again in a parable. And he says, Kum Balak, he says, get up, Balak. Stand up. In other words, you're making fun of me, I'm going to make fun of you. Get up, because I have God's message, and you stand up now. So basically, he's like, you're giving him back over the head. Shema, and listen, Hazina, and put your ear, Adei B'noi Tzipor, arise, Balak, and here, listen closely to me, you son of Tzipor, the son of Tzipor, you listen to me what I'm about to tell you. Lo ish v'yechazev. What do you think? God is not a man that will lie. You think God doesn't keep his words? In other words, what he says something and it's not going to happen. What? God said he promises he's going to bring the Jews to Israel. What are you, a joke? You think that somehow you're going to hire a soothsayer, somebody to come and it's not, and Hashem's not going to do what he says? You want to kill them in the desert through somebody coming? He says, what kind of fool are you? What? God is not a man that he should lie. God said he's bringing them to Israel. He's bringing them to Israel. Or he'll change his mind. He's not a man that changes his mind. Like human beings, fine. What do you think? You're going to change God's mind? Amar, how will he do and will he say and not do? He'll speak and he won't fulfill it. In other words, fine, other kings, other people, you could lobby them, maybe pay them a certain amount of money, whatever, you could curse, you think God said he's bringing the Jews to Israel. What are you getting in the way and thinking you're going to change? I've taken the Jews and they're blessed. You asked me, Balak, what God told me. God told me to bless them. And God gave me a blessing, and you want me not to say it? I'm going to have to say it. God told me that I need to say a blessing to them. They are going to now get blessed by me, right? The guy that he hired to curse them, Hashem said they're getting a bracha, they're getting a blessing, so they, you better believe it, are getting their blessing. Verse 21. God simply, it's amazing words here, does not see evil in Yaakov. Rashi says that either you could say there's no idol worshipers in the Jews, literally, you cannot find among the Jews. You're trying to find negativity, you can't. Another interpretation Rashi shares is that God doesn't see the bad. When you love someone, you don't see any negative, you don't see anything bad inside the person. He says it's not, Hashem just doesn't see bad inside them, Either there is no bad in them or God doesn't see the bad. Like your own kid, you're not going to see anything wrong with them. But you want them to find something negative and kind of tell God how bad they are. God doesn't see the bad. He doesn't see, crookedness or sin in the Jewish people. You're trying to ask me to find sin. You're asking me to find evil. Hashem, God is with him. Always with him. God's always with the Jewish people, no matter what they do. No matter how much they anger him, no matter how much Rashi says they rebel against them, God is always with them. And he has the king's friendship. They're friends with the king. He loves them so much. They're buddy with the king. What are you going to do? Hashem took them out of Egypt. And you says, remember in the beginning, he said, Balak told Bilam, come curse me. There's this nation that came out of Egypt and they're killing people. Come knock them out. And he's saying, what do you mean they came out of Egypt? He took them, Hashem took them out of Egypt. But they didn't just come out and start killing people. In other words, God himself is taking the Jews out of Egypt. What, you're getting in the way? You're going to try to stop them? With the strength of his loftiness. And Rashi says, like the power of demons, this is a tremendous power. Or he says like the most, the eagle are the most powerful birds that fly the highest, and tremendous power, high flying. Hashem is flying up and above, but the Jews are flying high. There's no way you can get in the way and stop these people. But like Kesem Yisrael, there's no divination. They don't use these kind of sorcerers. They don't need the sorcerers, Rashi says, because they are worthy of getting the bracha. With the Jews, people don't have these kind of black magic garbage sorcerers. They don't need it. They have Hashem's blessing. What kind of sorcery is needed when they have directly, straight out, Hashem's brachas, Hashem's blessing? There's no soothsayers. Like Kesem Yisrael, there's no soothsayers in the Jewish people. in time it will be said to Yaakov and to Yisrael, to the Jewish people, what has God done? When it will come to times of Mashiach, and everybody will see how much Hashem loves the Yid, and the whole world will be in shock. And the Jews will be standing there learning Torah from Hashem's word, and they'll be sitting closer than the angels, the heavenly angels. And the angels will say, whoa, look at these people. And he says, so that's who the Jewish people are. Also Rashi says they don't need soothsayers and these magicians and stuff. Whenever they call out to Hashem, and they're connected to Hashem. Verse 24. Hinam Kilavi Yakum. You want to know what the Jews are like? They're like a lion, like a young lion, who gets up, who rises up. And Rashi says, what do you mean the Jews are like a lion? He says one interpretation that they get up for Shacharis, they get up from their sleep like a lion. And they grab mitzvahs, they put on the talis, they say the Shema, they put on the tefillin. This is the people you're asking me to curse, right? These are the people you're trying to get me to destroy them. These are people like a lion, they wake up early in the morning to get up for Shabbos. Uka'ari, like a lioness, and like a lion, Yisnasa, will raise itself. Lo yishkav vayechol taref, it won't lay down until it devours its prey. V'dam chalal yishta, and drinks the blood of the slain. What does Rashi say that talks? What does that mean? When they go to sleep at night, they say Shema. There's the evening Shema. Besides the Shema we say in Ma'ariv in the Shul, also they say the Shema. And they review their days, what they did, and they're protecting. They feel like they're laying down in Hashem's presence, and Hashem is protecting them. And another interpretation is that at the end they'll devour the prayer at night, meaning before Moshe passes away, he will kill all the enemies of the Jewish people, including Bilam himself, will be killed by Moshe Rabbeinu before Moshe Rabbeinu passes, and he will devour it at the night. And as you said in yesterday's Chumash, King Balak tells the prophet Bilam, you didn't curse them. Just like yesterday, I asked you to curse them, you didn't curse them. Please don't, again, continue to give them brachas and blessings. Mayan Bilam and Bilam said, did I not already speak to you? Lamer saying, I told you. So whatever Hashem says to speak, that is what I will do. I have no choice in the matter, and I need to speak whatever Hashem tells me that I need to speak. And that, my friends, is the end of today's Chumash.